When I was a senior in high school.
About 80 years ago.
Wow, yeah, really. Someone just went, oh, God. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, it was. 1972. You too? Yeah. That was the big hit tune that summer. As we were going into senior week, that was the big hit tune. And I had all these great friends from high school and the theater department and the sports area too. Yes, because I was a cheerleader. And we all went to Atlantic City, Wildwood, New Jersey for our senior week. And that song was blasting. And, and we all were definite with each other, we will be there for the rest of our lives. You know how that turns out. Although one of those guys is still one of my best friends who I see and talk to all the time. And in fact, his wife just took BODS. So it was really cool to have that thing come full circle. So as I looked at this song, as I listened to this song, and certainly, can we give another round of applause to Carol? Do you know how blessed we are to have two women, two singers, two artists like this, who when they open their mouths and sing, it's not just notes, it's an entire life that comes through them when they sing. I am so grateful to having the two of you. Really. So I had to ask myself, who do I lean on now? I mean, who do I lean on? My husband, of course, Kevin will say I lean on him, and he leans on me. And I always talk about Kevin being the shoulders that I stand upon, and that's very true. But when I'm really in that place, who do I lean on? What do I lean on? So that takes me to my theme, love in action. It's one thing to know this teaching, and I do know this teaching. I actually know this teaching like the back of my hand. I know what was taught, and I know what is being taught now, and I sit in the uncertainty of what's being taught now and what's being known now. And I'm willing to be uncertain. I'm willing to be in that transition, that evolutionary movement of this teaching. So I know all of that, and it's one thing to know it, but it's another thing, do I lean on it? Do I really depend on it? Does it activate me? Does it answer the questions when I need those questions answered? Does it feel like arms surrounding me and holding me? And that's what's really important. So I'm going to start very interestingly today. Swan, are you going to push these or am I pushing these? I'll do them. It is why you gave me this. I want to start with this, spiritual mind treatment. We don't talk enough about spiritual mind treatment, which is basically Ernest Holmes' entire philosophy. That's what he came here to teach. Now, really what he came here to do was reteach what Thomas Troward taught, who was reteaching what Phineas Quimby taught, who was reteaching what Jesus tried to teach. That's kind of the progression of this. And now for us, we are reteaching, what does this actually mean scientifically? Because it was all words before. Now it's like, no, it's actually all consciousness. And every word that utters from your lips, backed by a belief, moves energy. So spiritual mind treatment is a movement of energy for a specific purpose, focusing the mind on the absolute truth. So if you remember that, the slide we're using for this month, there are two paths. There's the absolute and the relative. And I know I'm going to be dualistic in talking about this because it's all one thing. But when we break it down in the human scale, there's the absolute, which is this pure truth that's coming through you from a quantum field. And then there's the relative, everything that's happening in the world today, everything that has happened in the past. You have all those memories, you know what's going on, you're living in this relative world. Things don't work out for you in relationships, they don't work out for you in jobs, they don't work out for you in health. That's the relative world, and it gets a lot of our attention. A lot. And we basically live from the attention we give those things. Thus, the text I got this morning. Dealing with the relative world and what's going on and how am I going to deal with this. I can't love only in a world like this. Really? Yes, you can. You really can. Because you need to take your focus, focusing the mind on the absolute. That's what spiritual mind treatment does. That's what we're called to do. In the face of anything, no matter what's going on, we are called to know the absolute truth no matter what we're looking at and not get sucked into the void of the relative world that will literally take our, as Audrey said, vibration to the lowest place possible. So that's, to me, what Love in Action is all about today. How are we going to do this? So spiritual mind treatment. So spiritual mind treatment is putting what we call right action into place. So you are nothing more than bodies of energy constantly moving and expanding and creating based on what your mind is doing. Are we all in agreement with that? That's really what we are. Now, there's a lot going on around us, too. There's a lot of energy that moves towards us and impacts us in so many ways. But you are in the driver's seat. When this is all said and done, your choice to do what you want with your mind. So, right action. What is right action? You know, when I got that text this morning, half of this country or more believe that right action did not happen this time in the elections. And then the other half, or less than half, or whatever, however that breaks down, believes right action did happen, right? So did right action happen? Not in the relative world that I'm now talking in. Your choice not coming to be is not either right action or wrong action. It's just the relative reaction you have to it. But in the absolute, everything is divine right action. Everything. The problem is we think we know better than the universe. We think we know better than God, which is the universe. We think we know better than you. I know better than you because my point of view is more important. That's when we're stuck on that road over here in the relative world. So Ernest Holmes said, when we treat for right action, we should start with the supposition that right action already is. How about that? How about instead of trying to coerce the universe into doing your bidding, how many of you do that? Come on, be honest. How many of you treat for the universe to do exactly what you want it to do? Right. And I love what he says here. What if we treat from the place of life is unfolding perfectly, and here's what I would like to be a part of going forward. I would like to be more successful in my life. Not saying specifically, bless you, Pauline, not saying specifically, I want that job, so fire that person, I want his job. That's not how it works. So when we treat for right action, start with the supposition that right action already is. I know this is a lot of words. A lot of my students are now sitting there going, I thought we didn't do big quotes on Sundays. You don't, I do. So, in such degree as the answer, now this is heavy, so I'm going to do it slowly for all of us that need it slowly, which is me. What, Tiffany?
This is why you don't do big quotes.
Yeah. No, this is why you don't do big quotes. Yes. In such degree as the answer and the result is contingent upon any existent circumstances. Let's just stop there for a second. In such degree, if the answer you want, if the result you want in your life is contingent on anything in this world out here, you're on the wrong track. You're, right, Judd? You are absolutely, you can all say amens as you want throughout this whole thing. Amen, brother. So, thank you, Carol. So, if what you want is tied to something out here, you're on the wrong track. That's what he's saying here. It lives in the relative and necessarily is conditioned by the contingent which is held in the mind. So what that means is, as you navigate your life, as you move through your life, all of the things that are annoying you, that you are saying, I want this because I don't want that, the I don't want that is getting just as much attention as I want this. And what are those called? Thank you, Corrine Draper, for $100. Those are called mixed messages. And when you feed the universe mixed messages, what does the universe give you back? Mixed results. This is easier than I thought. Right? So if we're going to do love in action this month, then you are going to understand before you leave here today that your willingness to keep your mind focused on love only benefits everyone and everything. It benefits you in your life, and it benefits everything around you. And the trick is, can you get rid of the niggly moments when that stuff wants to come back in? How quickly do you veer off course and now you're over here again? So it's not that I think you're all going to be perfect, because I don't. I think what you can do, though, is be perfectly in the game of veering back when it happens. That's all it takes. So let's move to love. So if we're doing love in action, it really benefits us to understand what love is, and Ernest Holmes said this. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. Let's just start with love as a cosmic force. You know, love gets such a bad rap. And I know we're in the month of February, and most of us think of love as that pink cloud period when you meet someone and you fall in love and you have this wonderful relationship, and all you can think about is them, and did they text me today or not? Or should I text them? Because if I text first, does it look like I'm needy? You know, all of that. Anybody? Yeah, good. So that's not love. That's codependency. That's what love sometimes creates, but that's not love. What love is an energy. It's an energetic force. And in the quantum field, we call it love. Well, scientists don't, but we do in metaphysics, quantum metaphysics. We call love the creative, expansive energy of the universe. That thing that I am, that energy that flows through me. So if I'm going to be love in action, then my job, our one focus, should be getting the obstacles out of the way of love flowing through me. Because it's going to flow through me no matter what. But sometimes you can put a lot of obstacles in the way. Anybody can think of some obstacles they put in the way to love? Yeah. So here's what Rumi said. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Amen, right? So love is here. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible and cannot be turned off. You can turn off to it yourself. It doesn't mean it's not flowing. Now, you may have built a dam to make sure it doesn't show up anymore because you're too afraid or because you've been hurt. How many people here, honestly, have been hurt in love? Anybody not been hurt in love? Never been hurt in love? You have never been hurt in love. Come up here, finish my talk. I am so happy to hear that, to be honest. I've been hurt in love. But it wasn't really love that hurt me. It was my reaction to whatever was going on that hurt me. And it was my need for that love to be something I needed it to be. We're talking about a very different kind of love. We're talking about the understanding that there is a flowing river of pure love and compassion and understanding and wisdom and knowing. It's who you are. It's what you are. Your job is my talk title. Get out of the way. And that train's there because I see love as this locomotive of energy but I don't want to get in front of it. I want to be on it. And the problem is, too many of us are standing in front of it. And it mows us down because we're trying to dig in and stand still. But what you have to be willing to do is be a passenger. Get on board and be a part of love as it continues to move and grow and expand. Love may mean something to you one day, and it may mean something completely different the next day. Love changes. Love evolves. Love grows. I have been married for 37 years to the same man. And I can tell you, love grows and expands and evolves. And it continues to evolve and continues to change. And the problem is we stand in the way of it changing, in the way of it growing, in the way of it meeting our needs, when we could just get on board and let it flow and let this energy, this vibrant force inform us. The laws are very simple, Neil Donald Walsh says. Thought is creative, fear attracts like energy, and love is all there is. All there is this field of pure energy and light inside of you. And your only job is to get out of the way and let it do what it does. And that's those two paths. Take the love-only path, and then your life will expand and evolve in ways you could never imagine. Take the relative path of everything that's going on in the world, and you get to live there. So what's it going to be? What are we really going to decide to do? How are we going to love, our theme this month? So how are we going to live this thing called love in action? So I just finished BODS, 30 Day of BODS, and it was the best BODS ever, for me anyway, quantum BODS, taking the ideas of the quantum metaphysics and moving it into my work in mental muscle, has really transformed what I want to do and how I live. And someone in BODS wrote something on the blog. Everybody blogs, everybody does what they do. And one of the blogs came out and I read it and I cried. I was like, oh my God, that is the most beautiful thing, and it makes perfect sense for what I'm talking about here today. So here's the quote by Anne Monahan. If I am not giving, I am not living. Simple. Right, Anne? Very simple for you. Giving. We spend so much time asking what's mine to get, what's mine to receive. But what if it's really just about giving love? Love in action. What if the key to life is to give love and not expect anything in return other than love, continually moving and expanding and growing? If I am not giving, I am not living. So I have 3 things for you to do this month, okay? First one is get out of the way. Number 1 is get out of the way. Find those things that are holding you back and put them aside. Step over them. Put them behind you. Be done with them, whatever it is. If it's a fear you have or a past experience you have, it's Hakuna Matata. It's in the past, okay? So I wish I could knock on your head the way he does. It's in the past, right? That's number 1. Get out of the way. Let it go. Number 2, open your heart. Some of you may be sitting here today and you don't even know how closed your heart is. You may think it's open, but there are things in there that maybe have caused it to close. Maybe there's some anchors in there weighing you down. Some past disappointments. Some expectations that didn't play out the way you wanted it to. Whatever that is, open your heart back up. If you feel it closed in any way, open it back up. And then the last one, do something for someone else. And if you notice, that spells G-O-D. God. Because that's who we are. We are this energy of love. We are this constant momentum. But we get bogged down. We forget who we are instead of remembering who we are. So this month, do something for someone else every day. Focus on what other people need around you. Focus on what the world needs. Because the world doesn't need too many more naysayers. It doesn't need any more naysayers. The world doesn't need people to scream and argue and fight. The world needs more compassion. Thank you, Audrey. And love. So, get out of the way, Open your heart and do something for someone else. Just take a deep breath for a second and close your eyes. If love is nothing more than who you are, then I invite you to ask yourself the question, what is mine to do right now? What is mine to do right now? And whatever comes up, get out of the way and do it. You can open your eyes and namaste.